How's everyone doing today? Not sure if you can hear.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. Thanks.
We were just saying we want you to drive safely.
I actually just walked out of my meeting and to my
Okay.
desk, so it's probably 45 minutes for me to get there. So I'm just gonna stay at work here and take it
Okay.
from there.
We are just one board member away from a quorum right now for anybody who's waiting. We'll be right with you.
Thanks.
We have a quorum.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you, Dr. Darcy.
Always there for Region 13.
Motion to adjourn. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Right. Any public comment?
If you are online as a panelist and you have public comment, please raise your hand.
Need to identify ourselves for Hootie.
Yes. No public comment.
All right, we need to just go around the room and identify ourselves. I'll start. Bob Moore, Board of Ed.
Lucy Petrello, Board of Ed.
Kim Newman, Director of Finance.
Jamie Rohrbach, Board of Ed.
Nick Constantino, Board of Ed.
Christine Cowan, Board of Ed.
Howard Weisberg, Building Committee. John Cross, Building Committee. John G. Mateo, Building Committee.
Aaron Overton, Building Committee.
Sydney Leggett, Superintendent. And
Rusty
Linda-
Malik,
Linda-
Greg
ahead.
Putnam on the building committee.
And Linda Darcy, Board of Ed.
Rusty Malik, QAM Architects.
Carson Collier, QAM Architecture.
Mark Sedensky, ONG Industries.
Thank you. Next item, go ahead. Howie, here.
Sure. Item number 4, memorial renovation expansion. Before we go into the items, maybe we'll just have, Rusty and Carson, you want to give it an overview?
Yeah, can provide a general update. So as it relates to the overall project schedule, we are actively working on progress to complete our phase 3 documentation set. The first round of that is this Friday, which will be a set that will be issued out to the building code, third-party building code and fire code reviewers, as well as to ONG to begin their estimation process for that phase of documentation at that point. We expect third-party review comments within the first week of the new year so that we can kind of make any adjustments that need to be had there in preparation for the new construction phase 3 PCR scheduled for January 22nd, 2026. As it relates to the phase 2 schedule, we're here tonight. We'll talk a little bit about the abatement and demolition drawings that we submitted back in, I want to say the second week in November. At that point, those drawings are in with the local AHJs for their review. We've had some correspondence back and forth just before the holiday. So we're actively working on any questions or comments that we received from them. Looking forward to those. And currently that PCR review is scheduled for next Wednesday, so December 10th at 9 a.m. With the state, that PCR review.
Can you say what PCR review, because we have new board members?
Oh, a PCR review, sorry. It's pretty much the state review process in order to go out to bid. They require a review of any documentation that's be compiled along with estimates and information, get sign off from local municipalities as well as local officials before it hits the street for any bidders at that time. So all those are kind of important critical milestones that we have to achieve as part of the overall project being subsidized by state funding.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Mark, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I do want to add, so as part of this, the state PCR review, drawings and specs, as well as the estimate for that phase, ONG's taken the demo and abatement, switchgear, generator documents. We've done a review, or we've done our estimate on them. We completed it late last night, early this morning. In reviewing it, I will not present that estimate tonight just because we have not vetted it. We're showing trending over budget on that. And I think it would be a disservice to you to present it to this committee tonight for approval without having reviewed it with the design team and the owner's rep, which we're planning on doing tomorrow, Friday, and Monday.
Also, Mark, I'm a little concerned. I'd like to make sure that we get any comments back from the independent reviewer. Just hopefully everything's smooth, there shouldn't be an issue, but just every once in a while, you get something out of the woodwork. I wanna, if we're aware of that quickly, same thing with the town officials, that we know that sooner or later to make sure we cover any of those issues in the estimate. Hopefully none, shouldn't be none. At this point, you guys did a great job putting that package together. But I want to make sure that we take a moment to make sure we get any of that feedback. as well.
Feedback, yeah,
Just in case.
there shouldn't be a whole lot on the demo and the abatement, but yeah, certainly, I'll reach out to them.
So,
Yeah.
so as part of the demo and abatement package, it sounds like there's also long lead time items in there for procurement.
The switch gear and the generator.
So it's just those two items?
Correct. From a specification standpoint, that's what's carried within the phase 2 documentation. Everything else is demolition and hazmat and abatement components associated with this overall project.
And you're comfortable there's no other long lead time items that need to be included?
No, those are still the big sticking.
Okay.
Those are still, mechanical equipment's kind of come down, is normal now. Mechanical equipment's normal, glass is normal, a few years ago, aluminum was tough to get. Really, it's switch gear and generators sometimes you get it in 20 weeks, sometimes it's 40, 50 weeks. So, we're trying to think, the switch gear is still anywhere from 40 to 65. So, that was one of the reasons why, yeah, we definitely want to go out for an early bid with the gear.
Well, I think we all appreciate you thinking ahead and including those items.
Try.
Hey, Mark,
Are we
real
gonna-
quick, does that include the ATSs as well? Or are you only planning on the generator?
So it's generator and switch gear associated.
Okay.
That's what we include within this package here.
But the transfer switches I believe were in there as well.
Transfer switches are in there as well. Yep.
Yeah, perfect, because I know from experience, they run about the same time as the generators.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Are we gonna include the unit pricing in the bid package or not on the drawings, right? Just in case for abatement.
In the bid package, we have
Okay.
unit pricing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we've already received that stuff from Hygienics and built it into the bid package, and unit pricing on, Jim Twitchell gave me a whole laundry list of.
Yeah, because I'd like to get as much of this stuff out if we do encounter as possible within the budget, obviously.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
Any other questions on the process or the estimate? Now, the estimate that you're developing is just for phase 2?
It's just for the phase 2.
Okay.
Now, we will receive the documents, the 90%. I call it the balance of the document. We're scheduled to receive those Friday. Probably Friday at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it will be as soon as we can.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but it will be on Friday.
So hopefully we'll be able to look at those quickly and kind of balance out our demo number as well. And maybe that'll help bring it down a little bit.
But it's gonna be unit cost based. It's, the project's not gonna be lump sum project, right? It's gonna be item based, so it is gonna be what it is.
I'm sorry.
You didn't have a bid.
No, we'll be lump sum bid.
Huh?
It'll be lump sum.
So it's two lump
It'll be
sum
lump
bids.
sum.
We will have unit prices on the, if you find an additional elbow or an additional 5 feet of
Okay.
asbestos pipe, there'll be a unit price based upon that. And the way we do the unit prices is unless they're tied to an allowance, even if they are tied to an allowance, somebody comes in and they give a unit price of $100 and it should be $50. Well, we know that. We don't accept that unit price. We'll negotiate the unit price into their bid. Lower than that. If it is tied to an allowance where you need to multiply what they submitted based upon the quantity in an allowance, we would pay them up to that allowance, and then anything over that would be negotiated. So we don't just take that unit price and roll it. Yeah, no, so the only thing without the estimate tonight, which we still need to vet with the design team and the owner's rep, we will need approval on that before we go to PCR next Wednesday, because it's all part of the package. So we may be looking to do a remote meeting, probably, Tuesday night.
Joint,
With both
Joint.
building committee and board of ed, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, so that we need signatures and kind of the motion to approve on the SCG 042 form, which I think is listed on the agenda here, which that form includes acceptance of the estimate. And given where everything is right now, I don't think we can recommend in good conscience having you guys approve anything until that number is in a better position at this point.
We can still do A and B though. We just aren't gonna do item C, that 42, correct, Carson? And we're still gonna approve that.
Yeah, Rusty, is that?
So what we can do is we have the drawings and specifications and we can respond to any questions regarding them, just so that you're comfortable and then, and that way you're not looking at drawings, we're not presenting anything to you at the meeting. It's more a matter of saying, okay, here's the budget, here's where we are with the budget, that will get emailed to you so that you know what you're looking at. So at that point, you'll approve the budget. But having reviewed and, or, you know, at least had a chance to review and talk about the documents, I'd like to have one date on the 042, rather than one date for the drawings and specs and a different date for the budget. And then on the date when we approve the budget, we approve all three of them, knowing that you've met and reviewed or responded to or asked any questions regarding the plans and specifications. And
So
we can leave one set.
We can.
We can leave the set. There are some signatures that occur on the drawings too, or is it?
Correct, yeah, so drawings and specifications similar to phase one will require signatures from the Board of Ed chair, the building committee chair, and the superintendent. So there are cover sheets, drawing lists, and table of contents sheets that require signatures for the state for that PCR review. So we'll have those ready and prepared for kind of that digital meeting kind of thing. We can deal with the remote signatures. They don't have to be wet signatures or anything. So that's easy enough to accomplish at that point.
So should we schedule a meeting for Tuesday 5 remote?
If that works for you, yeah.
The other two documents related to the pricing as well, or can we have those done?
So the SCG 042 is all encompassing, so it includes documents and the estimate at that point. The signature sheets that we have for the drawings and specifications do indicate kind of a date on there at that point, which should be coinciding with the date of that would be the approval of the SCG 042. So forecasting that, it most likely will be next Tuesday, essentially at that point, via a remote meeting at that point. But
So if you tell us that the meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, then we will send you those documents with those dates on there. And then it's a matter of approving it and signing it. And just emailing it back to us so we can send it to the state.
Aside from the SCG 042, does anything else need to be on the agenda that night? Or will that be the only thing at that point?
That should be the only thing.
Well, we're gonna do the A, B, and C that night, right?
so it's drawings and specifications accepting for
By building, then
committee
BoE,
and
and then.
so we'll get that approval, and then it's the signature of the 042.
Okay.
So with the approval from both the Board of Ed and the building committee, it will release the chairs for each of those kind of committees and boards at that point to sign the documents that are necessary for that PCR review.
Okay.
Carson, what's the specific language that they should have in the?
So I think what Kim has written down within there, the acceptance of the drawings and specifications and estimate
For
for the phase 2 documents dated November 10th, 2025. That's essentially what needs to be kind of accepted as a motion, both the Board of Ed and building.
So Carson, I wouldn't have to do the CGO 42. That includes that.
Correct. Yeah, so that motion and approval is essentially what is needed. It just gives the authorization for the chairperson for both of those groups to sign the documents.
So it
that
falls
are
under
being requested.
documents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only other thing with a digital signature is you have to have that, or you have to scan it and sign it and send it back to
You
them.
can, the state hasn't really been too firm on that when it comes to the amount of signatures, trying to compile all of them, because these documents also require our local building officials, code officials, the health department to sign off on all the same pages that you guys will be signing off on in the drawing and specifications. So we're gonna have a big compilation of signatures that all go into those forms there. So a scanned document with a wet signature is perfectly fine. It's been accepted by the state. But yeah, if you want to do a certified document, that's okay as well. We can work within those.
Just thinking about Howard, because Bob and Sydney, that's fine, we can do that in the
Yeah.
office the next day, but Howard, do you have the ability to print it out, sign it, and scan it back to us?
Or come here.
It's probably easier just to come here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I have all those forms there. They don't have dates on them, so you can keep this set. Do it all together, and if we need to coordinate us picking it up, if you can't scan it or something like that, we'll take care of that
Okay.
to move that forward.
We have
We need to, correct.
Linda Darcy with a hand up.
Thanks. I'm just clarifying for myself. So are we voting on anything tonight?
Not now.
I think it's best to vote on it all at one time.
I'm sorry, the sound isn't great, so I need someone near the owl to.
No, we're not voting, Linda.
Thank you. All right. So my question then is, rather than having a separate night and can we meet a half hour before the regular meeting on Wednesday? I have a commitment on Tuesday that I don't particularly want to miss with this late notice for an extra meeting.
I have to meet at state on Wednesday, so we can't do it Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a 9 AM meeting on Wednesday, so.
Would Monday night be better for people? I mean, is that possible?
Currently my schedule won't allow me to attend on Tuesday either.
Okay.
Monday would be fine.
Same here.
Monday,
Monday's better.
I can't do Monday as a board member.
I'm open.
Monday.
Yeah.
We might need to put out
That
an email
Monday.
to all board members and get
Yeah.
commitments for people so that we have a quorum. Either way, I mean, I don't want to change my plans, but if it's a matter of voting or not, I can step out and do it, but
We can do, if we can do it Monday, that would be better.
Yeah.
that'd
then
be
we
better
can-
for me.
Monday's
Okay.
better.
That's good with you as well?
And it's just virtual,
Make it
right?
work.
It'll be
Just
virtual,
virtual.
yeah.
So
And
virtual.
it should be pretty quick, right? 15 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What time?
Does 5 work for everybody? Or because it's remote, could be 6, what's best?
For me, it doesn't matter on Monday.
If you need a board member, I have to be with the Demus Commissioner between 5 and 6, so I could hop on a quick call at like 4:30 or
If we don't have a
4:45.
quorum, we'll
Yeah,
call
if you
you.
don't have a quorum, I just need the time bumped up a little bit. She's not the type of lady you want to do it.
We can also. Call you.
Carson, did you say the same? 42 as to officials?
Correct.
So
We can deal with that after.
Do anything.
Sorry.
It's the approvals that need to happen for the PCR.
We gotta do it.
We can follow.
So you're gonna go over the plans for us tonight?
Yeah, so I can give a high level overview of this set. I know we've talked about what is involved in that set there. I believe Kim, I think I sent you and a couple of the building committee members the digital set thank you, yep. Of the phase 2 documentation. Essentially by the name, it's demolition and abatement. So it's various components of the existing building that need to be demolished in order for the new construction and renovation work to take place. That is what is included within this overall set. And the abatement work is covered both within the drawings and specifications. So it's the removal of any hazmat materials within the school that hasn't already been abated as part of your district's ongoing kind of hazmat remediation plan required by the state at that point. So those are the components that are identified within the spec, in addition to the electrical generator and electrical switchgear components that have longer lead time items. Those are the components essentially included within this phase of the project. The balance of the work site, new construction, everything like that will follow in the phase 3 part of the overall project, which will be forthcoming to this group shortly in the next month or so.
And we do have the drawings and specifications here.
Yeah.
So we can open them up and if anybody has any questions, can look at.
Well,
Yes,
I think since we have some people who are like joining and we were worried about the quorum, like, do we want to, like, if people want to stay after and look at the drawings and ask questions and then maybe let the people go who need to go?
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't see, the test results, were they in there?
The hazmat report,
Sampling, yeah.
so it's within the overall specification manual. So there's an entire hazmat kind of schedule that
Right.
gives all the different.
But we did do testing.
We did, yes. So Pinoni, who's been actively working with the district for a while at the school, who has some history there, went in, did some core sampling, provided the remediation plan as part of this.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions on the abatement, and I don't know if it's of interest to Nick, especially just being new. Would anybody want to just kind of give a status update on where we are with phase 3 and the actual design of the project? And I guess maybe a recap of what happened at P&Z.
We can, if
If
that's.
that, I don't want to keep anybody waiting that has to leave, but
I think, Linda, do you have to go?
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
All right.
So we're
Darcy
good.
out. See y'all.
Thank you.
okay.
Does anyone else have to go?
Okay. So would that be something that we can have them give an update on? So maybe, yeah, P and Z, and then maybe just for Nick's benefit.
Yeah, so we can provide a high level update in regards to phase 3 and the P and Z. So update in regards to planning and zoning. So last week, our team did meet with the planning and zoning officials of Middlefield to review the overall project, the site plans, all the approvals there. We were granted an approval last Tuesday evening. There were a couple conditions that they did establish as part of that. One of them being that the alternate parking lot that we have discussed with this group on the north end of the overall project site, kind of on the backside of the new addition, that we've been noting in the documents, that portion of the overall site plan would not be a part of the approval that they granted at that point. They wanted a further discussion in regards to the viability, the need for it, what kind of lighting would be in there. They had a couple more questions that they wanted to engage in a further conversation with the district on. So that was one component that they excluded from their overall site approval.
Would that be something we revisit could that be revisited while the project is ongoing?
Yep. So the plan is in regards to that component, we are going to continue to identify it on the overall site plan. It is identified as an alternate, so it's not part of base contract scope of work. So depending on where pricing comes back for the project, we can, if funding is favorable and it falls within budget, we can pursue it. If there's not funding available, then it's a non-issue. We don't have to worry about it and go back to P&Z. But if it's something that the district would like to proceed with, it would require additional approval from planning and zoning.
That area is still going to be regraded as part of the construction project?
Correct, to where it needs to be, not to the extent that would be necessary if the parking lot was introduced there, because the grade does.
Yeah, but we are going to get rid of some of the significant comments. Okay.
Yep. And the second condition that they tacked on to that approval was related to the parking lot lighting. There was some concern about those parking lot lights being on kind of all night and everything like that. We had conversations about security reasons, why you keep them on to make sure that people can see what's going on there. But there was some opposition to that. So they did put a condition that all the parking lot lights would be turned off by 9:30 p.m., which that would be subject to a further review discussion with the district. If there is any opposition to that, they'd be open to further discussions on that. From a documentation standpoint, we always specify site lighting with integral time clock controls on it, occupancy sensors, daylight sensors. So there's nothing technical that we need to change from a documentation approach. It's more of just a scheduling negotiation discussion that the district will have to engage with a little bit further, just depending on how that site plans to be used.
There was any discussion of instead of all the lights being on, just the select number of lights.
So
a lot
they,
of times I'll do
as
that.
as part of their condition, they identified that building lighting, any lights that are attached to the physical building would be able to remain on essentially around the perimeter of the school. But I think their main concern was parking lot lighting on the overall site, even though it's a residential.
Is the designation for the lighting that's standard in there, does it allow for, light pollution down lighting
We address that anyways. We follow all the light cutoff requirements that are mandated by planning and zoning at that point, by zoning regulations. This is just an additional item that they expressed concern about at that point. So I think it's something that can be resolved, but would just require
Yeah.
further conversation. if
We can
there's
have a
any-
conversation because this is a safety and security issue. As you know, part of the recommendations from the national study that was done with school security is to have some level of lighting there.
Yep.
So from the Board of Ed standpoint, I think we need to have some level of lighting in the parking lot itself. The building itself should be on.
Yep.
But what
Can there
I've
be a
done
certain-
is shut off certain fixtures that give you,
Absolutely.
the lighting level required at night is much lower than what you need. People are occupying, so
Yeah.
they will accommodate that.
Your walkways, et cetera, need to be at 1 foot candle.
Yeah, which is,
And the unfortunate part was that the discussion this was brought up after the discussion was closed. And so we really couldn't get into a discussion to talk
Okay.
about the details of what security lighting needs to be. The drawings, what we've done is our drawings have, the lights are clearly controllable.
Yeah.
So if you decided, no, we negotiate 50% of the lights to be turned off at 9 o'clock and the rest get dimmed down, we have that ability just from programming to do any of that. So it's not an issue from a design point of view. It's just a matter of what's practical and what makes sense from a security perspective.
Does it make
What's
sense to
there
have a
now?
certain number that are motion censored?
Yeah, they have motion.
Yeah, they have daylight and occupancy sensors. A lot of times what we find with schools like this, because this isn't a unique
Yeah.
problem at that point, we do see kind of a time clock that dims them down to 50%. And then if there's motion detected, then it will dim up, it will raise a little bit to provide a little bit more illumination. Because again, you do have security cameras tied around the site that you want to be able to kind of capture what's going on there.
So my question would be, absent the parking lot lighting based on this restriction, can you meet the lighting security requirements for the school in the design
So.
by the building wall packs that were mentioned at the meeting?
No, because you have to light the walkways and any sidewalks, et cetera, to the public way. That's actually part of the building code as well.
Right.
So you can't say, well, you can't have any of those lights on because those walkways have to be, and let's say somebody's working late at night in the school. And it's past 9:30 when if you shut all the lights off and that person's then leaving at 10 o'clock, let's say, to go home. They need to have adequate lighting to get to their vehicle, to get to, to the public way. And so that's gotta be part of the discussion. We have to meet building codes and security codes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna speak for Eric too, is I know that if we're out there plowing snow and there's no parking lot lights, it's not gonna be pretty. So there's other operational reasons you wanna have that. And certainly if you have security cameras, it's also good. You can check in there, see what the conditions of the parking lot are before you decide to cancel school, that sort of thing. So there's a number of operational things that would benefit.
But I don't cancel school.
No, that's good.
So my question is, obviously, we have approval, but there are some conditions on their approval that are not practical or in possible violation of building code. Is the process to appeal the approval without, obviously, we have to operate the building in a way that meets all requirements. At the same time, we can't violate the P and Z approval, so we have to get the P and Z approval amended at some point. The question is when.
It would be, once you decide, and then the board needs to decide what's an acceptable compromise for this, and we'll let you know what we'll define what the building codes call for and what the security codes call for. Then what we do is we would have a meeting with them to discuss this.
Yeah, I mean,
And is there a deadline, like for the state process?
No, I mean, as long as.
For this part.
State's just looking for there's an approval in place.
Yeah.
The conditions are to be, will be something that the board has to.
And none of it physically affects any of the building equipment or anything in
It'd
the
be
plant.
helpful to know, like, I'm just thinking like Strong is literally across the street from residential houses. Brewster across the street from residential houses in a residential neighborhood. What do we do with the lights there?
Memorial may already be like that.
That back, yeah, I mean, so yeah, so like
I
what?
suspect somebody had a concern, one of the neighbors
Yeah,
probably had
sure, but I'm
concerns, but I think I'd rather address those concerns directly with the neighbor
Yeah,
as opposed through an approval process through the town. That would be more appropriate.
So,
We're willing to do that.
I'm not sure it was a neighbor issue. Has anybody discussed with Eric since the meeting whether there is any timing for shutdown of those lights or whether the lights are on full throughout the night?
Have not followed up with Eric specifically on.
So let me suggest this. I would suggest that someone follow up with Eric to find out whether there's any timing schedule for shutdown or dimming of the lighting that's existing there now. I would also suggest that potentially we take some light meter readings at night of the current lighting on the site and maybe at the roadway. I went out after the planning and zoning meeting and I observed the lighting out there. The lighting in the parking lot was on full. There were 2 light fixtures that are very close to the road that project light out onto the road that potentially on an existing basis could affect the neighbors. In my opinion, I'm guessing here a little bit. I haven't looked at the photometric plan, but I suspect that we may have light levels proposed on the plans now with the full cutoff lights that might be better than the existing condition out there now. And not that we could even do better with dimming them down at a certain time frame as well. I think if we go back to P and Z, it would be good to have the background information to support the design and approval of the parking lot lights being on. John, that was a good suggestion. I didn't think of that for snow plowing, but that's something that should be documented as well.
I think that all makes good sense. I just want to make sure we don't operate the school and have to operate the school in violation of the, P and Z approval. Which,
Yeah, I mean, I think that frankly, you might want to check with your insurance. The Kerma might say, hey, listen, you might.
that'll all become info when we go back to P and Z saying,
Yeah.
Kerma, minimum requirements, building code, and you're gonna get something far better than what you currently have. But yeah, I think we'll at some point have to get it amended, essentially just before the building becomes, operational. So, all right.
There's enough distance between the building and the road that you can also, and we've done this many times, have layers so that the lights that are at the roadway or even the next tier in turn off. But the other ones stay on at a reduced level so that it's not, we're not lighting up the sky. And anyway, we're not doing that. We're trying to minimize those lights in the evening hours anyway.
All right. Any other interesting things thrown at you at P and Z?
You said that like, do you remember? Nothing that we weren't able to respond to.
No, that's good. Like I said, I think it's a really good plan. I think the site plan makes sense. I ran into one of the neighbors at the transfer station the other day and he was very happy with how everything transpired. So.
And the neighbors did not come to the meeting, so that was surprising. But all the questions are fairly straightforward and we have responses to them.
Great. So the meeting I caught all of you at the community center last week, that was the one we're talking about. There was some concern a couple meetings ago about the town was maybe moving a little bit slower. Has that been alleviated now as far as getting meetings scheduled and all that? I don't know exactly what the concerns were, but it was a little bit of, we need to move forward a little bit. So everything's good on the town end.
Yeah, so we have kind of third-party reviews, building official reviewers set up at this point. Sure, we're just looking to get that in line for this phase 3 review, which is where they're really going to be reviewing a lot more of the documentation set that we're working on completion for this Friday. So that's positive. It's in place. We're on track in regards to that. The next hurdle will be kind of signatures that are necessary for this phase 2 documentation set. But we have been in communication with the local officials there at that point. So hopefully everything stays on course for that.
And then lastly, the tree warden had something that we were concerned with getting a written documentation or email documentation of. We all set there.
So we do, yep. So I think Eric was able to provide that at the last building committee meeting. So there is a record of that just in regards to the existing health, those trees that we are proposing to demo.
Now that we're pretty comfortable with the final design and the roof lines and everything, at some point, one of the components of the project was public outreach and media and letting people know what everything's gonna look like and, building more engagement. Where would that start to come in? The renderings are great. Where do we want to house the renderings and all the really cool stuff so that when destruction starts, people can start seeing what the end product looks like.
I'm gonna suggest anytime after the February PCR, because we're moving at a very fast pace right
Okay.
now. With all these deadlines and making sure that the local officials have what they need. So once that happens towards the end of January, beginning of February, I think we then spend some time really doing the outreach to the community.
Because that'll be good for the Board of Ed to be able to share that with the community.
And at that point, I mean, we still won't have, we'll have some, maybe some abatement ongoing at that time, but that's about it, so.
But it'll be great to have the webpage, the project webpage that shows, once demo starts, showing some of the demo to let everybody know that, as Jamie pointed out, work is occurring. Why we shut down the school? Well, because we have to do this. And then just show some of the renderings and maybe some of the demonstration drawings.
I fancy me to do actual progress photos if you want.
Yes, I wondered it. But yeah, so after February, we'll start getting some really good PR out there.
The Town of Middlefield does do a quarterly newsletter, that full color thing that we're distributing, and it's making its way. People are appreciative of it. Wouldn't be for the whole district, but that might be an opportunity. Perhaps we can get a little bit of space in there to help engage people. My understanding is people are reading it, and I don't see so many in the garbage at the local post office. So that's good.
Actually,
I love
the
believing.
It did come up was about the courts and how they strike, whether pickleball courts are gonna be shown. We told them that is gonna be on there.
Okay.
Great. Anything else in the building? It sounds like everything's moving.
Yeah, so other than that, we're just in the final kind of crunch window to finalize documentation efforts and everything at this point to make sure that we have a complete set from what to kind of review for the phase 3 document set there. But everything, we're staying on track, staying the course.
Marty, STV is happy so far?
Yeah, Mark's been keeping me in the loop and will participate in the review of the estimate for the demo hazmat phase to see what's going on and how it can get brought down.
Okay.
Just going back to the lighting for a second, I didn't realize this before, but that section of the frontage road, Hubbard Street in front of the school, has streetlights. So looks like every second or third pole has a street light on it, so the road is lit along the entire frontage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the lighting in the rear of that property probably would only affect the far end of your neighborhood, like the other end of Whisper Wind Road, there's probably about what, 4 houses? That would probably be that was the concern, so maybe those neighbors. All the problems about them all.
They're far enough away. There's
Yeah.
there's that big field.
I can't imagine there's any neighbors other than along the frontage that could potentially be impacted by lighting.
Parking lot lighting.
The parking lot lighting, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had the
It's
example
not-
out here.
With full cutoff fixtures.
The new lighting fixtures, and you guys touched on it. I mean, it's amazing. You can literally draw a line and they're gonna hit that line. It's not like the old days where it just.
Yeah, we had discussion about that with the field and
Yeah.
the parking lot, because that was always a big issue with the neighbors back here, so that the technology has really helped in the whole light pollution.
There's a photometric plan in the set, right?
There is in the site plan and the P and Z set as well. We do have a photometric.
So we can
plan.
look at light levels along all of the property lines, other than the frontage, and
Property lines, I'm fairly certain we're not able to transfer any light leak across at that point.
so you're at or very
Discussing
close
kind
to
of
zero.
the west property line yesterday, as part of the coordination there, and we were pretty much at 0 lumens essentially on site because you can't cross property lines with any additional light source there, so we're very
The
strategic.
neighbors who we were most concerned about the site plan, we pulled everything much further back.
Right.
So even the lights that are there currently will be moving, 25, 30 feet back from that location.
So there were no neighbors, no one from the public that attended the P and Z meeting.
Yeah.
There were no comments expressed.
And we did get comments from the neighbors, as part of the review prior to the P and Z meeting that we had last week, but lighting was not of any concern on any of those that were addressed to the design team that afternoon. So,
Okay, we'll continue this one,
Yeah.
we'll just build up our arsenal of concerns and present them and come up with a decent resolution, so.
What's the schedule for the demo to be completed? You know, how long?
We've actually shaved that back a month to try to do better on the schedule, but right now, bear with me. Right now, we're starting around mid-February and we figure about 3 months. I think originally we had 4, but I think we can do a little bit quicker. We're trying to help schedule a little bit.
Hey, Mark, have you
Yeah.
guys published an overall schedule update recently?
I do have one here in my hand. I can certainly send it out. Not much has changed since the last one that I've issued, but I will make sure Kim has it tonight or tomorrow morning.
Great, thanks.
We can add it as an item on Monday, just to do a quick schedule recap.
The hazmat cleanup is mostly tile or the asbestos and any of that.
It's a wide variety of kind of items there. So it's some floor tile, there's some mastic that is located in existing millwork cabinets. That's where you find a lot of those items there. Under windowsill, black caulk ceiling joints around windows, leaching into brick, essentially at that point. So there's some brick removal as part of that. You got a lot of insulation for pipe fittings, any sort of tape sealants that they might have used back in the day. A lot of those are contaminant. So if they're left in place, not a problem. But when we're doing a renovate as new, we're taking it all out. That way you don't have to deal with any of those hazmat materials moving forward.
Are the neighbors gonna see a big hazmat truck in front of the school?
No, because we'll do it at night in the dark.
Yeah.
No lights.
What the light?
Honestly, they probably won't know what they're looking for.
Okay.
Essentially, a lot of the time, that kind of remediation work is tarps.
Yeah.
Mostly people go with Tyvek suits, kind of
Yeah.
rebreathers, stuff like that, but it gets disposed of in plastic bags, taken out, demolished appropriately.
Just for
There's nothing that's gonna be airborne. Those are all control
Yeah.
measures that are part of the demolition process. It's all being monitored.
when that starts, we probably just make a notice somehow that this is going on. People.
Yeah, so there is a public notice for any sort of demo and abatement that will be issued out as part of that. It's part of the building permit process as well. So that will all be kind of published where it needs to be.
All right, any other questions while we have them here and we kind of have an open forum?
I would kind of recommend that maybe we adjourn the meeting, and if people want to look at the plans and ask questions, we can do it that way.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, we have to see if there's any final public comment. Any public comment? Nothing online?
As I was saying, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. You said,
Thank you.
Thank you for covering. Thank you. That's the first
over budget.
Yeah.
We usually take them in a
Need
couple hours.
hours, I think,
Oh,
your
okay.
concerns.
Hopefully it'll be less.
Good to know.